all the evidence in that time. We can. And then we will do written closings and deliver at a later. But I would really like to show you this. It will be some time before any council meeting. So that night as a goal.
Madam Chairwoman, as a matter of housekeeping, I forgot to offer TTT exhibit number 21, which was marked. So I would move for the admission of the hydrology map, which is TTT number 21.
Okay, we're a minute.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, it is time for questions from the council. Dave? Sorry. Somebody else?
Yeah, please.
John?
Questions for the
For the witness from the council.
Yeah. There was some conversation about the timing of mine plan. And you did make a comment that you had the capacity to mine very quickly, but you also talked about the mining cycle. So do you know from year one, do you have an idea of what year you'll be done mining? First, there are two questions in here. One is mining the Bentonnite, and the second question is removing it to your plant in Casper. How many years are you planning for that to occur?
If I could, Mr. Cora, I'd defer that to Mr. Thorson, because Mr. Thorson is in charge of scheduling the actual hauling activities. I think that given the relatively smaller volumes of Bentonnite associated with this project, that that could happen fairly quickly. One thing I should point out too, that we've been talking about this 2020 deadline to complete mining. That only applies to the 3T claim. And as you can see on the map, there's not really a lot of, the red areas are the pits where we would remove the Bentonnite. So the 2020 deadline only applies to that portion of the amendment covered by the 3T claim. And as you can see, in terms of quote pit area, there's not a lot. I mean, the majority of the.
Bruce, could you show what the outline of the TTT can that'll clarify that?
Yes, I can. So again, the cyan blue line is the proposed amendment area. This is the HERCO portion, and this is the 3T10 claim. So the 2020 deadline only applies to that. So as you can see, this would be an area of Bentonnite removal here. The red is the pit, and this is a pit area here. A little bit of a outcropping knob here. So the remainder of the amendment area, HERCO and Bobcat, does not have the 2020 deadline. So I think that from that perspective, that I think we could get in here once we got it approved and mine these areas immediately on the 3T claim and accelerate that if we needed to, both the mining and the hauling of that material. Actual time frame, Mr. Cora, I can't really speak to that. Tom Thorson could answer that.
Okay. I think I'm done.
Yeah, I've got it. One is a comment. Sometimes the requirements for the mine application that you submit is really not enough to meet the surface owner's information. And I heard a couple of times is, well, no, we didn't do that, we were required by the law. Okay, that's fine, but sometimes I think it's useful to go beyond that. And so I want to, so that the surface owner knows what's going on. And what this suggests to me, and I think you mentioned, I just want to confirm, that did you or anybody at Black Hills talk to the landowner while you were coming up with the amendment?
Yes, I believe so. I believe that Mr. Tom Thorson, president of Black Hills Bentonnite, spoke to Mr. Crossingham personally on a number of occasions. I know that he met with him at the ranch. Mr. Thorson also traveled to the actual amendment area with Mr. Crossingham, and Mr. Bob Perry, our mine foreman at the time, actually went out there on the ground and looked at it and explained to Mr. Crossingham what our intentions were. And I know that Mr. Thorson also shared airline flights that next to Mr. Crossingham traded seats with somebody and had discussions there. Mr. Thorson, on several occasions when we started to kind of have some disagreements, Mr. Thorson, I believe, offered on 2 occasions to fly to Mr. Crossingham's home in Mount Airy, North Carolina, and actually sit down with Mr. Crossingham and discuss the matter. So yes, we've made a number of attempts to talk to him in person.
Thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
Question I had was related to, you can see depicted on the map, approved mine plans, the northeast or northwest, or southeast of the permit that's before us now. How close to the permit area boundary are current active mining operations on?
Okay, I'm not sure.
So I mean, in proximity to the project area, the amendment area that's before us today, how close to that area boundary are there active mines?
Immediately adjacent to it. Do you want me to illustrate?
That answers my.
Okay.
One comment that you made that sort of caught my attention is you said at this time you guys were planning on doing these things. Are you planning on adding mines to sites within the amendment? I mean, are you contemplating that?
Not
is
at,
this the total amount of development you're going to do with this?
yes, not at the current time, but there are additional bentonite deposits within that amendment area. We know they're there, but we have not fully explored those. So there could be some potential, and that would require a mine plan revision through the Land Quality Division in the future if we decided to develop any other deposits there. Right now, our immediate need is we have a wide variety of qualities of bentonite to service different customers. This particular bed is one of our higher quality bentonites that's in higher value and higher demand. So that's why we focused on that at the current time.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you. Excuse me,
Ditto,
Mr. Ditto?
yeah. I don't have anything further, Madam Chair. I was going to clarify the year thing, the 2020 versus the 2022, but I think Mr. Bagley's question clarified that, that the application said,
Mr. Ditto, you can't.
what's that?
You can't testify.
Oh, okay. Good point. So I think we've clarified the yearly thing, and so that was the only question I had, so I'm done with him.
Mr. Klosterman?
Thank you. Mr. Lawson, have you reviewed the answers to interrogatories that were filed on behalf of Black Hills Bentonnite in this case?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And you just testified that there was a conversation between Mr. Thorson and Jim Crossingham in regards to the Herco amendment while they were at the airport and on an airplane, true?
That, from what Mr. Thorson has indicated to me, is what I assumed.
Okay. So let me read his answer to these interrogatories.
Okay.
Quote, on or about August 29th, 2016, I, Tom Thorson, ran into Jim at the Natrona County Airport. We visited in the waiting room for 1/2 hour and then on the flight to Salt Lake City. He invited me to sit with him as we asked a lady to exchange seats. Most of the talk was politics, even though I, Tom Thorson, tried to talk about the Bentonnite issue, but he evaded any discussion. Have you seen that?
No.
Okay. So there wasn't any discussion between Mr. Crossingham and Mr. Thorson about this Herco amendment. They were talking about politics.
Okay.
Isn't that true?
I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't.
So
I
your
didn't read that in
your
detail.
earlier testimony was not correct about having some detailed conversations about the Herco amendment during this time that they were at the airport and on this flight.
Well, I guess I'm gonna.
That was just, I wasn't there, so I just,
Okay.
I'm gonna object to that because it speaks for itself. It says he evaded it. It doesn't say he didn't talk about it.
What are your grounds for objection?
That he's mischaracterizing the testimony.
Okay, Mr.
I